Hello future MDs, here's part 3 of the chemistry rationale of CEM NMAT Practice Set 2014. Bali nandito yung numbers 21 to 30 and nasa description yung other videos for this chemistry review. If you find this helpful and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends na magti-take din ng NMAT. Let's start! Number 21. Compounds are made up of blank. So, yung matter, divided siya sa pure substance and sa mixture. Kapag sinabing pure substance, under nun is yung element and then yung compound. Tapos kapag mixture naman, under nun is homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. So first, let's define muna yung mga terms. Kapag element, yun yung pure substance consisting of one type of atom. So as you can see here, isang type lang siya ng atom. Kapag compound naman, pure substance consisting of two or more different atoms. Ayan, so as you can see here, composed na siya ng magkakaibang atoms. So ito is water. And then mixture, two or more different substances not chemically combined. And then yung homogeneous mixture naman, ito siya, a mixture with a uniform composition. So for example, yung salt dissolved in water, diba hindi nyo naman na mapapansin kung ano yung salt and kung ano yung water once na-dissolve na yung solute or yung salt dun sa water. Kasi uniform na yung composition niya. And then yung heterogeneous mixture naman, it's a mixture with a non-uniform composition. So for example, meron kang vegetable soup or mixed vegetable. So makikita mo pa doon yung kung ano yung green peas, yung corn, yung mga carrots, 'di ba? So yun yung example ng heterogeneous mixture. Madi-distinguish mo pa kung ano yung composition. Sa homogeneous, di mo na madidistinguish kung ano yung mga particles na nandun. Kasi uniform na sila. Ayan. So, dito naman sa choices, ayan. So, yung compounds daw is, as we can see here, di ba, sabi, consisting of two or more different atoms, which is letter D. Ayan, molecules of at least two different elements. Yung sa letter A, pwede siyang isotopes, atoms of the same element, pero dapat may kadugtong siya. Of the same element, pero different yung number of neutrons. So, isotope yun. And then, yung sa B naman, pwede siyang maging definition ng molecules. So, atoms of at least two different or the same elements. Since nakalagay dito yung two different elements lang, ibig sabihin, hindi kasama dun yung diatomic molecules. Or for example, yung O2, Cl2, mga ganon. Number 22, which of the following is the electron configuration of chlorine ion with positive 1 na charge? Ayan, di ko alam kung paano basahin to. Ayan, so yung atomic number daw ng chlorine is equal to 17. So, remember na kapag meron tayong electron gain, it will result to a negative charge. Kapag nag-lose naman tayo ng electron, it will result to a positive charge. So ito, meron kang positive 1 na charge. Ibig sabihin nun, nabawasan ka ng isang electron. So, yung atomic number kasi, di ba, yan yung number of electrons and number of protons. So, since nagkaroon ka ng positive 1 dito, yung number of electrons mo, instead na 17, magiging 16 na lang. So, dapat dito sa electron configuration, kapag pinag-add mo yung superscript, yung sum nila is equal to 16. Hindi na 17. So, ipag-add natin. Yung superscript kasi, yun yung corresponding number of electrons sa isang orbital shell. Ayun. So, for this one, yung letter A, kapag in-add nyo yung superscript, yung makukuha nyo sagot is 17. For letter B, 17 ulit. For letter C, 16. And for letter D, 18. So, yung correct answer dito is letter C. Ayan. Meron pa palang explanation. So, pwede nyong makuha tong sagot dito kahit hindi ginagamit to. Pero for your reference lang, yung configuration or electron configuration ng chlorine is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. Ayan. Equal yan sa 17 electrons, yung superscript dyan. So sabi dito, for a ground state element to become an ion, it has to either gain or lose an electron in its outermost orbital. So in-explain lang dito kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng gain or lose of electrons. Yung goal kasi is to have 8 valence electrons or 8 outermost electrons dun sa outermost orbital. Yun yung sinasabi ng octet rule. Elements usually do this in order to gain the electron stability of the noble gases. So para mas maging stable, kailangan mag-gain or lose ng electron, sabi sa octet rule. Number 23, the combination of equivalent amounts of acids and bases is called, so yung answer natin dito is letter B, neutralization. So tandaan nyo yung term, combination of equivalent amounts of acids and bases. Ayun, so kapag kasi 'di ba pareho yung amount nila, nanu-neutralize yung solution. Yan, so kapag sinabi namang precipitation, yung sa letter A, it is the product of condensation of atmospheric water vapor that falls under gravity. And then, yung neutralization, yun, yung kaninang dinefine natin. And then, hydrolysis, cleavage of chemical bonds by addition of water. And then, yung ionization, it is the process by which an atom or molecule acquires a negative or positive charge by gaining or losing of electrons. So, tandaan nyo yung kapag merong ions, meron siyang nagigain or nalulus na electrons, kaya siya nagkakaroon ng positive or negative charge. Number 24, in a neutralization reaction, the number of milli equivalents of the acid and the base must be equal at the end point. If 20 ml of 0.15 normality or normal concentration of sodium hydroxide is used with 0.2 N of hydrochloric acid, how many ml of the hydrochloric acid will be needed? So for this one, kung gusto nyong malaman yung kung paano ma-derive yung formula na gagamitin natin, please refer to number 12. Ayan, so sa number 12, i-explain ko yung kung paano nakuha yung formula. Ayan, yung gagamitin natin dito na formula is yung normality ng base times the volume of the base is equal to the normality of the acid times the volume of the acid. So, sabi kasi neutralization reaction tong reaction. So, dapat equal daw yung equivalent or milli-equivalent ng acid and base. Ayan. So, yung base natin is yung NaOH, di ba? Sodium hydroxide, and then yung HCl yung acid. So, ipa-plug in lang natin dito sa working equation natin yung mga given. So, yung normality ng NaOH is 0.15. So, lagay natin 0.15 times volume is 20 ml. Equal daw yan sa 0.2 na normality ng hydrochloric acid. Tapos, yung hinahanap natin is yung volume ng acid. So, VA. Ayan. So, ganyan lang siya. And so, VA is equal to 0.15 times 20 over 0.2. So, it can also be written as 15 over 100. Kung wala kayong gagamitin na calculator, maganda na. Dapat alam nyo kung paano mag-cancel-cancel ng fractions. So, 2 over 10. Then, ilagay nyo lang yung 10 sa taas. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, yung 20, makakancel yan. So, magiging 10 na lang. And then, yan, magiging 15 over 100 times 10 times yung 10 na nasa baba. I-multiply nyo na lang din. Yan. So, 10 times 10 is 100. So, makakancel na yung 100. And then, we're left with 15. So, yung answer natin is 15 ml. And that is letter B. Number 25, if every mole of methane produces 192 kilocalories of heat, how many kilocalories of heat will be produced by 160 grams of methane? And then, given tayo ng atomic weight ng hydrogen and carbon. So, first, kunin muna natin yung molar mass ng methane. Methane is CH4. Yung carbon is 12. And then, yung hydrogen, 1 times 4. Kasi 4 yung nasa subscript. So, 12 plus 4 is 16 grams per mole ng CH4. Ayan. So, given din tayo, yung pinapahanap is yung heat na mapoproduce ng 160 grams. So, 160 grams ng methane, multiply natin yan to the reciprocal of this one. Yan, reciprocal, yung purpose kasi para makancel natin yung grams. Yan, so 16 and then 1 mole ng methane. Yan, so makakancel yung grams times, sabi dito, every mole of methane produces 192 kilocalories of heat. So, sa isang mole daw ng methane, makakapag-produce tayo ng 192 kilocalories. Ayan. So, pwede na natin i-cancel yung mole. And then, we're left with kilocalories. And 160 divided by 16 is 10. So, ito 10 yan. Times 192. 1,920 kilocalories yung magiging sagot natin. Which is letter A. Number 26. Which of the following is the effect of adding a non-volatile solute to a solvent? So, yung correct answer dito is letter D. Magkakaroon ng higher boiling point and lower freezing point yung solution natin. Ayun. So, kapag sinabi kasing non-volatile, it is the inability of a substance to readily evaporate into gas. So, for example, yung pag nag-add tayo ng sugar or salt sa water, ayun, yung sugar and salt, non-volatile sila. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila agad mag-e-evaporate into gas. And then, kapag sinabi namang volatile, yun yung mga substances na madaling nag-e-evaporate. So, for example, yung alcohol, yung acetone, yung mga ganang substances. And then, yung physical changes na nangyayari kapag nag-add ng solute to a solvent, tinatawag natin yun na colligative properties. So, according to Rolle's law, ito daw yung mga mangyayari kapag nag-add ka ng non-volatile solute to a pure solvent. First is yung vapor pressure is magde-decrease. Yan, this is due to reduction of area on the surface of solvent by solute particles. Hence, the number of solvent molecules escaping from the solvent surface is lowered, so the vapor pressure of solution is decreased than that of the pure solvent. So, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, due to the solute na inad sa solvent, hindi makakapag-escape into vapor yung solvent dahil dun sa solute. Kaya, yung vapor pressure, nagde-decrease siya due to that. And another one, yung melting point or yung freezing point is bababa rin or magde-decrease din. In this case, the solute particles disrupts the crystallization and more kinetic energy is required to freeze the solution than that of pure solvent. So yun, magre-require siya ng more energy for freezing. Yun yung mangyayari. And then number 3, boiling point is increased on addition of non-volatile solute. So kabaliktaran naman nung kanina, kung yung melting point and freezing point is magde-decrease, yung boiling point naman is mag-i-increase kapag nag-add ng non-volatile solute. The boiling point is the temperature at which the solvent starts to boil when its vapor pressure is equal to its atmospheric pressure. Thus, more heat energy is required to boil the solution than that of pure solvent. So ngayon kasi, syempre, nadagdagan ka ng solute and then yung solute, hindi siya agad-agad mag-e-evaporate, di ba? So, tataas talaga yung boiling point. And then, note lang dito, note that the freezing point and boiling point constants are specific to solvents. Number 27, how many grams of water must be added to 200 ml of NaOH solution in order to have a solution with a specific gravity of 1.157 and 13.55%. And then yung specific gravity daw ng NaOH is 1.32, ayan, and then 28.83%. So yung pinapahanap sa atin dito is yung mass ng water na kailangan pang idagdag dun sa NaOH solution para makakuha ka ng solution na may specific gravity na 1.157 and 13.55% nung solute. So, madidivide yung process natin dito sa dalawa, yung pagsosolve natin. Meron kasi tayo, di bang, original NaOH solution. And then, meron din tayong desired NaOH solution. Yan. So, yung goal natin is makuha yung molar concentration kada solution. So, kukunin natin yung M1 dito. I-represent na lang natin yung molar concentration ng original solution as M1. And then, dapat makuha rin natin yung molar concentration ng NaOH sa desired solution. And then, after that, we're going to use the dilution formula. Yung dilution formula is, yan yung molar concentration times volume is equal to molar concentration na final times the volume. Pag na-solve na natin to, yung goal kasi natin dito is makuha yung V2, yung volume ng diluted NaOH natin na bago. Yan. And then, tsaka natin ima-minus yung 200 ml ng NaOH solution. Yan. Kasi, ang tinatanong lang naman is yung in-add mo na grams of water. So, dapat i-minus pa. So, ang mangyayari, V2 minus 200 ml or 200 grams. Tapos, yun yung answer natin. Yay! Ayan. So, ganyan yung magiging method ng pag-solve natin. Medyo mahaba to, so bear with me. Ayan, delete ko lang to muna. Okay, so let's start solving. So, first, ano bang formula nung molarity? Yun kasi yung goal natin na makuha, diba? Yan, molarity is equal to the moles of solute over the liters of solution. Yan, so, sa isang liter, ilang moles ng NaOH yung makukuha natin from the given. Yan, remember lang na sa isang liter, merong 1,000 ml. Yan, so, given naman tayo ng specific gravity, diba? So, sa original NaOH solution muna tayo. Given tayo ng specific gravity na 1.32. So, ayan. Sulat ko lang. 1.32 gram per ml. And then, i-multiply natin yan sa 1,000 ml para matira na lang sa atin is yung mass or yung grams. So, magkakaroon tayo ng 1,320 gram ng NaOH. Tapos, sabi, 28.83% lang yung gagamitin na solute. So, 1,320 grams times 0.2883 equal yan sa 380.556 grams ng NaOH. And then, after that, yung goal natin is makuha yung number of moles, diba? Yung moles of solute. So, para makuha yung number of moles, i-divide natin tong mass na nakuha natin by the molar mass. So, ano bang molar mass ng NaOH? So, meron tayong sodium. Yung sodium is 23 gram per mole. Yung oxygen is 16 gram per mole. Yung hydrogen is 1 gram per mole. So, i-add natin yan lahat. So, 23 plus 16 plus 1. So, yung NaOH, yung molar mass niya is 40 gram per mole. Yan. Tapos, so yan, divide na natin siya to the molar mass, yung 380.556 gram per mole. Yung goal is makancel yung grams, diba? So, times na lang natin para mas madali. Pero nasa ibaba yung 40 grams para makancel. And then, 1 mole sa taas. Ayan, mali pala yung nasulat ko. Dapat wala ng mole dito. Grams lang pala to. Okay, so grams lang to. Then, makakancel yung grams. 380 divided by 40 is equal to 9.51 mole ng NaOH. So, yan na yung moles of solute. And then, since kanina, diba, minultiply naman natin yan sa 1,000 ml. Ibig sabihin yan, in 1 liter, meron tayong 9.51 mole ng NaOH. So, 9.51 divided by 1 is equal to 9.51. So, yung molar concentration ng NaOH is equal to 9.51. Yan, molar concentration. So ito, yan yung gagamitin natin for M1. So 9.51 molar concentration ng NaOH. Isulat ko dito kasi mamaya buburahin ko tong nasa right side. And then yung volume ng original solution is equal to 200 ml. Ayan. And then sa next na tayo, yung desired NaOH solution na or yung diluted na. Okay, so buburahin ko lang itong part na to para may space tayo mag-compute. Ayan, so sa diluted naman tayo, diluted NaOH solution. Uulitin lang natin yung ginawa nating solution kanina, pero iba na yung given. Gagamitin natin itong 1.157 and 13.55%. Ayan, kasi yan yung desired specific gravity natin, di ba? Ayan, so 1.157 gram per milliliter times 1,000 ml. So, makukuha natin yung mass na 1,157 gram ng NaOH. And then, sabi, 28.83% lang daw nung mass na yon. So, 1,157 gram times 0.1355 equal yan sa 156.75 grams ng NaOH. Tapos, kunin ulit natin yung molar mass. Alam naman na natin na 40 gram per mole, di ba? So, diretso na natin 156.75 grams times sa 40 grams ng NaOH, may isang mole. Or for every 1 mole ng NaOH, may 40 grams. Yan, napagbaliktad ko lang. Okay, equal yan sa 3.9 moles ng NaOH. And then, per 1 liter yung hinahanap natin, di ba? So, yan na rin yung molar concentration. So, in 1,000 ml, meron tayong na-compute na 3.9 moles ng NaOH. So, yung molar concentration is equal to 3.9 molar concentration ng NaOH. So, ito na yung M2 natin. So, lagay ko lang dito, M2 is equal to 3.9 M ng NaOH. And then, yung V2, yun yung hinahanap natin. Hahanapin natin. Yan. So, i-delete ko lang ulit to. Yung nasa right side. Okay. So, yung sa dilution formula, M1V1 is equal to M2V2. And then, yung M1 is 9.51 times 200 equal yan sa 3.9 times V2. And then, yung V2 is equal to 9.51 times 200 over 3.9. And then, kayo na lang bahala mag-compute, mag-divide, or mag-multiply. Equal yan sa 487.18 milliliter. Ayan. So, yung solution, dapat ma-dilute siya up to this volume. Ayan. Solution must be diluted up to this volume. Para makuha natin yung desired na specific gravity na 1.157 and 13.55%. Since given na tayo ng 200 ml sa start, diba? So, ima-minus natin yan dito sa 487.18. So, 487.18 ml minus 200 ml. So, equal yan sa 287.18 ml. And then, sa isang ml naman, sa isang ml, meron tayong 1 gram. Kasi yung ayan, napakita na yung sagot. Yung unit natin sa choices is grams. So, equal din tong sagot natin to 287.18 grams. And then, this one is the final answer, which is letter C. So, ito kasi dito, nag-round off ata ako. And then, kapag gano'n, nag-round off kayo, hanapin nyo na lang yung malapit na answer, 285.48 grams. Number 28, if 40 ml of 0.1 molarity of potassium permanganate, which is acidified, is diluted with 160 milliliter of water, then the normality of the resulting solution will be blank. Yan. So, given tayo ng volume and molar concentration or yung molarity. Yan. So, to get the new normality ng diluted solution, gagamitin natin yung formula na molarity times total positive oxidation number. Pero hindi pa natin alam yung molarity ng diluted solution. So, gagamitin natin yung dilution equation na M1V1 is equal to M2V2. Or yung concentration times volume is equal to the diluted concentration times the volume. So, M1 is yung 0.1 times yung volume na 40 ml ng acid. Equal yan sa M2 yung hinahanap natin times the volume of the solution. So, yung volume ng lahat is 40 plus 160 kasi pinagsama mo yung acid and water. So, M2 or yung molarity is equal to 0.1 times 40 over 40 plus 160 is equal to 200. So, yung makukuha niyong sagot dito is 0.02 molarity. Yan. So, meron na tayong M2. And then, yung potassium permanganate, pag nag-dissociate yan, magiging K plus tsaka permanganate ion. Ayan. So, ganyan yung magiging itsura nila. Yan. And then, yung total positive oxidation number is 1 lang, diba? So, yung normality nung solution, diluted solution, is equal to 0.02 molarity times yung 1 na positive oxidation number. So, yung normality is 0.02 N. So, ito yung final answer natin, which is letter A. Number 29, a certain endothermic reaction occurs with a decrease in entropy. Therefore, the reaction is, so yung correct answer dito is letter D, non-spontaneous at all temperatures. So, tandaan natin to, yung given is endothermic and then decrease in entropy. Later, i-explain ko kung bakit yan yung sagot. First, i-define muna natin kung ano yung enthalpy. Yung enthalpy is the energy na transfer between system and the surroundings under constant pressure. So, in this figure, kapag yung change in enthalpy is greater than 0 or positive, ibig sabihin, endothermic yung reaction. Kapag endothermic yung reaction, yung heat is papunta sa loob ng system or papasok. Ibig sabihin, nag-a-absorb ng heat yung system. And then kapag yung change in enthalpy is less than 0 or negative, ibig sabihin yung heat is lumalabas sa system or nagre-release ng heat yung system. And then pag sinabing entropy, yun yung measure of the disorder of a system. So anong implication nun? It describes how much energy is not available to do work. And ito yung relationship nila. Yung kapag mas disordered daw yung system, higher yung entropy, and less of a system's energy is available to do work. So, tandaan nyo to. Pag mas mataas yung entropy, mas mababa yung energy ng system na makapag-produce ng work. Okay, so, Gibbs free energy, ito yung formula for that. Yung Gibbs free energy is equal to the change in enthalpy minus the product of temperature and the change in entropy. So, yung Gibbs free energy, ito yung measure of the stored energy in a reaction. So, tandaan nyo yung definition niya. Ma-encounter nyo to madalas. Gibbs free energy is the amount of energy left over after a chemical reaction has taken place. Kung gusto nyo pa mas maintindihan, ilalagay ko na lang to sa description below, yung video ni Bozeman Science. So, mas magaling siya mag-explain about this one. So, ito pala yung relationships. Sabi kanina, di ba, ayan, meron tayong tinatawag na spontaneous and not spontaneous process. Pag sinabing spontaneous process, it is a process which occurs without any external input in the system. So, for example, this ball, so automatic siya na mahuhulog, di ba? Or magsaslide na siya pababa without doing work. So, ito, spontaneous process siya. And pag sinabing not spontaneous, yung opposite. So, kailangan meron kang external input sa system. Dito, kailangan mong mag-exert ng work or ng force para makapunta yung ball sa taas. And then, kapag, syempre, yung movement ng ball is pag ganun, di ba? So, at some point, mag-i-stop siya dito. So, yun yung tinatawag na equilibrium, yung Gibbs free energy. So, ganun lang yung ibig sabihin ng process na yun. Ito, yung Gibbs free energy naman, kapag negative siya, spontaneous yung in terms of chemical reaction and equal to zero equilibrium. And then, pag yung Gibbs free energy is greater than zero or positive, ibig sabihin, not spontaneous yung mapoproduce na process. So, ito lang yung summary and dito yung chart. Yan, as you can see, kapag yung change in enthalpy is less than zero, and then yung change in entropy is greater than zero, so ito yun. Yung outcome is spontaneous at all temperatures. And then kapag yung enthalpy is greater than zero or positive, and yung entropy is dito pala tayo, and yung entropy is less than zero or negative. So, yan, negative. Ibig sabihin nun, yung Gibbs free energy is positive. So, try nyo na lang i-analyze kung bakit using this equation. Yung outcome niya is not spontaneous at all temperature. So, sa number 29, yun. Yung given sa atin is endothermic. Kapag endothermic yung reaction, ibig sabihin, yung change in enthalpy is greater than zero. Yung pinakita kong figure kanina, di ba? So, positive. Tapos, yung entropy daw is nagde-decrease. So, less than zero yung change in entropy. So, dito siya, itong line na to. So, yung outcome is not spontaneous at all temperature yung outcome. So, yung correct answer is letter D, napakita ko na kanina. And ito naman yung sa dalawang natira. Kapag yung change in enthalpy is greater than zero or endothermic, tapos yung change in entropy is greater than zero, so parehong positive, spontaneous lang yung reaction at high temperature. So, example nito is yung kapag nag-melt ka ng ice at high temperature. And ito, example nito is kapag nag-freeze ka ng ice at low temperature. So, panoorin nyo na lang yung video. Ilalagay ko na lang para mas magets nyo kung anong implication ng tong mga to. Number 30, under which condition will the change in internal energy of a system be equal to the change in enthalpy of the system? So, ito yung formula for enthalpy. Enthalpy is equal to the internal energy, yung E, plus P times V or pressure times volume. So, mangyayari lang yun, yung enthalpy is equal to internal energy kapag yung work is equal to zero. Kapag either yung pressure is zero or yung volume is zero. So, yan. Work is equal to pressure times volume. Example nun is yung sa piston. Sabi, sa na-search ko, in a vacuum daw, sobrang baba no pressure compared to the atmospheric pressure. So, sa vacuum, yung answer natin pala dito, hindi ko pa pala sinasabi, letter B. The system absorbs heat while expanding to a vacuum. Yan. Sa vacuum kasi, yung pressure doon is sobrang liit lang compared to the atmospheric pressure. So, kapag sobrang liit ng pressure, ibig sabihin, magiging zero yung work. So, at that condition, yung enthalpy, magiging equal siya sa internal energy. Ayan, may tinatawag din tayong free expansion. Ayan, gas is allowed to expand into a vacuum. This happens quickly, so there is no heat transferred. No work is done because the gas does not displace anything. So, kapag yung gas daw is mag-expand sa vacuum and mag-a-absorb ng heat, yung internal energy will become equal to the enthalpy.